Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm projecting. Ross is like, did you ever project? And so I'd like to thank everybody for inviting me to get to speak. It's always it's a real honor to get to speak instead of Mr. Ross Cook. Ross has become, anybody here read the book, Way of the Peaceful Warrior? Anyone? Yeah. Ross has become my Socrates. And genuinely one of those individuals who's been a transformational experience in my life. And the cool thing, but I want to tell you the story about how Ross Cook came into my life. This building was a project that started about, 2010, Ben? 2009? We found this empty building, and where you're sitting used to be cubicles. And it was white and dusty and cobwebs. And if you remember, the commercial real estate industry was really tanking. It was not doing well. So the people who own this building really wanted to have some folks in it to clean it up. And so we had started a project called Mindset Cafe, a way to bring coaches, mentors, and resources such as Ross Cook and marriage counselors and nutritionists and fitness people under one roof. That was my passion. To bring all those folks together and under one roof to where people who finally said, I need some help, could find it without having to spend 10 years and find the wrong folks to get well, right? And I came in and painted the walls on the weekends, found this on Craigslist, found these chairs at Costco, and we built Mindset Cafe. And that project didn't work out. By a lot of people's standards, they say, well, that didn't work out. Where's Mindset Cafe? Where's the big sign that used to be out on that stainless steel? It's gone. And when I left this building, I left everything behind because I had another opportunity. And it wasn't until just recently, within the past 6 months, I pointed back and realized what had really happened. Mindset Cafe has turned into Troy Old's coaching and maybe some other name, amazing things. We're bringing coaches, mentors, and resources under one website so we can do this on a global level rather than just locally. And I went back and I've got a yellow notebook where back in 2009, I was designing my life. It's like, I need a strong male mentor in my life. And I literally wrote, I need a strong male mentor in my life. And some other folks. And I don't know if you all were here. I know you were, Robert and Jean, back when the church needed a place to go, right? And we had all these chairs were already set up. And I said, yeah, come on here on Sundays. But when we started this, Ross Cook wasn't in the equation, right? Ross Cook showed up 6 months later, started speaking for the center. And that's where I met Ross Cook, right? The point of it is, we started Mindset Cafe. I wrote down on a yellow notepad to have a strong male mentor in my life, provided a place for the Center of Peace to congregate, and Ross Cook showed up, and guess what? I got my strong male mentor in my life. Isn't that cool? That's pretty cool. So those of us who are signs and minders who say that we think it, we write it, and we manifest it, that absolutely was a manifestation. And we've got story after story after story about how that's really shown up. It's never been exactly like I wanted it to. It's gonna look like this, right? I need a Mercedes, right? Because I've got to get to there. And God gives me a bike, right? I got a bike and I get to go there. And what I've had the opportunity to do is learn gratitude right where I'm at any given moment of my life. And that's been one of the blessings. Now here's the thing that I wanna, as we go into passion, sat down and really kind of dove into this. Kimberly, what is passion to you?
Put me on the spot.
Yes.
The feeling I get, I guess, when I'm doing what I love. It's kind of the outcome of doing what I love.
What do you love?
I love being with my family,
Mm-hmm.
and I love meeting people and helping others. Challenging myself.
Challenging yourself, helping others. Perfect. Jean, what is your passion? What is one of your passions? Because I know you have many. This is interactive today, so you guys all open your eyes shut.
Well, first of all, I think passion is sort of that lifeless life.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose suppose one of my biggest passions is the kids that I work with at school. I work with kids who have problems, whether they're physical or emotional. And to see where they actually are, which isn't hard to see where they are, but then to find the tools to be able to lift them up so they can move and do a learning situation.
That's beautiful. So again, what I heard you say with that is helping these kids who have challenges in their life and finding tools to help them to get along better that's love. Right? Anybody else want to share what their passion is before we get rolling in this? Thank you, by the way. That's beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so everybody's going to speak by the end of this, by the way. I want to just tell you a story, and I want you to know that it's not necessarily true or not, but I want you guys to kind of consider, what if things were like this? One of the things I love about the science of mind is as we believe, that becomes our reality. We're clear about that, right? As we believe it, it's as real as the nose on our face. And so I'm not saying that this is real, but I like to imagine what it was like before I got here. Does anybody remember what it was like before we got here? And I'm not talking about here, I'm talking about before we got here. You don't remember? How far back can you remember? Like literally, can you remember when you're 6? Can you remember when you were 5, 4, 3, 2? No? Anybody remember when they were 2? Anyone? No? So what if we remember when we were in the womb? Right? Because there's a point where, our memory just kind of fails, right? But what if, again, I know we're all very visual, we think in pictures, so imagine if we could remember being in the womb. Like snugly in there, getting kind of tight, right? What if we could remember before the womb? Huh? Isn't that what we talk about? Right? What was that like? Robert, any idea? Did we have angel wings and streets of gold? What was it like?
My memory doesn't go back that far.
What would you like it to be?
Never thought of it that way. This is now, that was then.
What if it looked like that was then, this is now, and this is then again? Because we're going back. Does that sound right? Are we going to a different place? Or are we going to go back to the same place? Spiritual beings having a physical experience, right? So I'm fascinated about that. What was it like? I can't remember, right? But what if we all hung out together back on the other side before we came here, and we all just said, okay, this is about growing our souls. We're going to grow our souls, right? We've heard that. Buddhism talks about we're going to grow our souls. And we say, okay, so to grow my soul in this lifetime, I'm going to have these experiences. And so we literally had a checklist, kind of like going to a really cool restaurant, right? Like a sushi bar. It's like, I want these parents, right? We're going, oh my God, it's going to be crazy. They're crazy parents, right? And we just check it off. I got to have this experience. I've got to have a divorce. I've got to have death in the family, right? Why not? Because it's not when we're on our couch chilling out having a good time that we grow. That's when we reflect. It's only through the most challenging aspects of our life that we actually grow, right? Isn't that the way it is? Okay, so that's kind of what I thought. It's like, what if we just, every experience that I'm having, when I want to complain about it, I want to call it a name and give it a label, this is bad. What if I could remember back when it's like, I planned it, I chose this. This is exactly what I need to grow my soul, right? Reframed everything about that experience. Death in the family, death of a child, oh my God. What if I chose it? Okay, so this is about passion, it's also about personal responsibility. I'm not saying this is true, but then we get to play that out, the timeline of the magic. Ooh, these are all timelines, growing our soul. And the thing that I believe, this isn't an idea, this is a belief. I believe that we come in here with gifts and passions and magic in us. Because I can remember being 3 in Nampa in a pasture of alfalfa peers and parents and teachers telling me that I'm wearing the wrong tough skins, when I talk too much, right? I was unadulterated. I was undomesticated. And I would move clouds with my mind, and I would talk to the ladybugs, and I didn't need anybody around me. You guys know what I'm talking about? Do you have those experiences? And that was the magic, right? That was the magic. We're connected. And so then we go to school, and we get all these experiences saying, you've got to look this way, you've got to wear that way, you've got to sit down. It used to be like, when we were little tiny kids, come on, you can do it, you can walk, you can walk, you can talk, right? And you get to school where they say, sit down and shut up, right? The domestication has begun. And the challenge is that what happens, I feel, for a lot of folks, is that we go through somebody else's conversation with motive to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, go do something that you're not real excited about, but you do it for 40 years, and then you get to go find your passion. How's that working for everybody? Right? Not well. So, again, for myself, I remind myself on a daily basis that this is a conversation. It's all made up. It's an idea. And I get to practice the science of mind. That which I think can manifest, will manifest, if I chronically think about it with emotion and passion. Right? The passion. Prayer is not the words. Prayer is the emotion, folks. And that's why Michael Beckwith, in his new church in California, they padded the walls and soundproofed it. Because Michael Beckwith, when he prays, is a maniac. He's jumping up and down, he's on fire, he's exuding passion. And he is distributing those requests, those commands to the universe. And it's the magnifier, right? And so when I was in my little Christian church back growing up, sit down, shut up. I remember this stuff. This is the church. This is this people. Open the doors, and this is the people, right? But don't ask me darn questions. So it didn't fit, and that's where I came into the science of mind. That's our job. That is our job, is to find our passion, our gifts that we came in here with sooner than later, right? We find them in this lifetime. Fabulous. We won. But the key is to find it sooner. And the challenge is the majority of folks have bought into the marketing and the media saying outside of us is what's real. Right? You're close. Watch a commercial. You're close, but not quite there. But if you drank this, you'd be there. You'd be okay. And we've had those messages ever since, by the way, Ben and I were raised by, people don't know this about us, Morgan Freeman, the guy in Shawshank Redemption, you know about the actor? Ben and I were raised by Morgan Freeman. Truly. Sesame Street, that's where he got to start. We're plopped in front of Morgan. That was the blessing of being a child in the 70s. But from that point forward, we're constantly just programmed and domesticated into a way of being that is so far outside of ourselves that people are just in pain and suffering. And there's pharmaceuticals for that. And there's therapy for that. And there's booze for that. And sex and drugs. And so that's the thing that is so fascinating. Is when, and I like Jesus, man, that's one thing. It's not what I thought. It's not what I was taught when I was a kid. Jesus is an amazing dude. And when he said, on the back of your sheet, it says, I and my Father are one. Right? So what is this? Where we came from, you've heard this in Science of Mind, you've heard Arnold Ernest Holmes say this. Everything that ever has been, ever will be, already exists here. All we've got to do is align our thinking with it. Right? This isn't about us. This isn't about us and it. We are it. We just need to align our thinking with it, and all things are possible. Again, a Jesus thing. To he that believeth. Right? And so I was that kid who was just old enough to believe this crap, you know? That's a technical, scientific term, crap. And truly just make believe. Go back to make believe. I make believe every day of my life, because what had happened to me is I became almost 40. The economy tanked, and I worked my face off to earn a living because my net worth was linked to my self-worth. And and I had to have a Superman S on my chest. And when I was doing jobs and making money and paying the bills, I was a man. But I tell you what, when the banks changed their lending practices and they fleeced America of their wealth again, and no money was coming in, I was left with who? Me. And I played that game of outside, bigger car, bigger house, nice watch, tailored suit. And I realized that's crap. That is the lie. That was the domestication. And so at that point, we had the opportunity to start doing some things that made sense, which is what? Again, the kingdom of heaven is where? Within. Not out here, not in a beer, not in a car, not in a house. The kingdom of heaven is within. Always has been, always will be. You gotta figure it out. The sooner the better, and be okay with making mistakes, because that's the way it is and that's how we learn. Does that make sense? Anybody want to give me a high five or a hallelujah or a jumping jack? Something? Okay. So that is what, that's really my mission in life because it's fun. The other thing that is really fascinating is I was always getting somewhere. When I have the car, then I'll be okay. When I have the house, then I'll be good. When I earn this amount of money, then I'll be good. You notice that? I'll be good. I'll be good. I'll be good. No, I'm not going to be good. I'm going to be a little wild, and I'm going to be radical, I'm going to shake some stuff up, I'm going to do this thing my way. And that's challenging too, but it's the only way. So when we get in this thing, what happens is we jump in a stream. And when we are not clear about what we are, which is, I and my Father are one, connected with all of this, it's like going upstream. And we go upstream, and we got, the runoff in the spring, and branches hitting us in the head, and it's tough, and it's loud, and noisy, and exhausting. When we go within, it's like laying back, just going. Right? Imagine middle fork of the salmon, laying on your back and just floating through, right? Looking at the birds and the mountains and the trees. That's what it's like when we go in. And that's the cool thing. And so I want to share with you what you shared, Gina, is super amazing, because if you turn that over, I love what Wynton Marsalis says, and he's the jazz musician, because the artists are the saviors of the world, if you didn't know that. Love is the spiritual essence of what we do. Musicians, right? Technique is the manifestation of the preparation and investments as a result of love. I love what Alan Watts says. Do what you love, because when you wake up in the morning, you will go to it, and you will get after it, and you will become so good that you will become a master. And when you are a master, people will pay you to know what you know. That's the challenge. That's the thing. It's like people are doing other people's passions, other people's dreams, making other people's lives, giving up their own. When all they need to do is just step out of it. Just step out of it and start living their own dream. And so I've got this handsome young fellow here to show you. When I watched this the first probably 20 times, I was emotional because this kid, it just exudes passion. This is the young man who, he's one of my heroes. 10-year-old Hispanic kid. When this was taken before he got famous, I don't know where they're at, some concrete building, we hear dogs barking in the background, but listen to this, watch his face as he plays this.
Hola, después de película. Hola. Voy a tocar el tema de la película Titanic.
Was that passion?
Yes.
Isn't that incredible?
Yes.
I could watch that kid, I watch that kid over and over and over. And, you know, life is a programming of ourselves, rather than allowing the world to program us. You know, I was reading on the way in the 20s, there were 40 companies owned the industry in the United States in the 20s. 40. Do you realize that there are 3 companies today that own all of the media outlets? 3. Oh, and by the way, they also own all the major corporations. Do you think what you hear on the radio, I don't care what kind of news, it's all bad news, Fox News, CNN, that it might be biased, bought, paid for with motive to keep us outside of ourselves? Figure that one out quick, you guys, right? I know you have. That's the way it is. I want to ask you a question. Did that kid figure it out and find his passion here or here? Right? Isn't that cool? And the cool thing is his life is completely transformed. What if he was going to go out and do something else? Kind of postpone his passion. Well, that's not responsible. I'm going to go get a good job, you know? And he's going to do that job for 10 years. He's going to get a family, right? And a mortgage, and now I can't quit. And what if he never found that? What if that kid never found that? He's not the only one who loses. We all do. That's the thing is, like, I love to remind people is that what you came in here with is unique to you. No one else can bring it forth. It's your gift into the world. And if you don't, not just you lose. We all lose. Right? And that's the thing. Start today. It doesn't have to be like, oh, completely change something. No. Find your passion, go within. And when you fall so in love with yourself, it doesn't matter what you're doing, because you're already there. You found home. Good to go, right? So, I want to show you, how much time do I have? I can go all day. I can go, seriously. Here's the thing that I want to show you guys that, again, just like that naivete. I read so many books. Working with Ross Cook was the tool I needed. Because I knew about a lot of things. I could quote and chirp and blah, all the, the Brian Tracy, the Think and Grow Rich, the Magic of Thinking Big. I knew about a lot of things. It wasn't until I had the experiences and found a guy like him who was able to help me go in, to know things. There's a big difference between knowing about the science of mind and knowing the science of mind, right? And so, this is one of my, Kimberly can attest to this, and I know she gets very frustrated possibly because I'm obsessive and repetitive, because I know that it's taken so long, 40 years to program, and it's all around me. Because even though I don't watch the news or TV, I choose specifically what I put into my mind.
Yes.
And with the people, I'd rather be alone than around the wrong people, and do I not take that very seriously?
Yes.
Absolutely seriously. Because it's that important. And so, I literally program my mind by watching certain videos. And when I need a tune-up, I have a toolbox of videos. This one I've probably seen 150 times. Because if I'm feeling like crud, I'm feeling sad. By the way, those are just colors in the rainbow. I used to think it always had to be happy, feel good. Because why? We were marketed that. That's not life. A rainbow's not just blue. It's all of them. And we have to learn to embrace joy. And as my good mentor says, this too shall pass. The painful times, this too shall pass. When we stop reaching out for a drug or a pill or a pharmaceutical I'm all for therapists, the right ones that point us back within. And then the pharmaceutical industry will go away. This would. Because then we just know the truth. Right? So this is one of my programming tools. 150 times I've watched this kid, and he's gotten me out of a funk so much I can send him a check. I do. play, that we stop playing as we get to be adults, we all growed up, and we stop playing, and it's a shame. We're supposed to play the whole way, you know? I like to see things like Kimberly. I'm blessed to get to hang out with my best friend, my partner, somebody who actually doesn't think I'm that crazy. She knows I'm crazy, but not that crazy. And I see this as, in the morning when we're chosen what we do. You know, I've chosen a vocation. And thank God, I didn't realize it was going to take me 30 years to get to do on a daily basis what I love and earn a living doing it. I just had to go a long way and get a lot of experiences. But I see it like little kids, you know, we come out and we're playing, it's like, okay, you go that way, and I'll go that way. And we go, we're picking up some sticks, we're finding some rocks, you know, all of us have had kids, right? And we put some pots, rocks, and a pine cone, and my son a frog. And then when I come home at the end of the day, you know, and I also fell over, I got poked, I'm bleeding, kind of hurt. All that is nothing compared to getting to come home, lay in bed with her, and go, look what I found. You know, look what I found. Look what I got, right? And have her share that too. We're here to have an experience. We're already there, right? And just to be blessed enough to have somebody in our lives, people in our lives, who get to share this journey with us while we grow our souls is a gift. I have one last thing. I hope this resonates with you. Let's see. The way it resonates with me, because it's kind of framed up with a movie. Anybody seen Chariots of Fire? I love this movie. Let's see. Where is it? You go on and on about passion. You know, the most important thing is that we play. You know, we gotta play. Don't take ourselves so darn serious. Okay. And I've written it on the back of what they're actually saying, in case it's challenging. But this is like that little boy when he's playing Titanic. Did you see him? I mean, he's in a trance. You know where he's at? You know where he's at. He's here. He is. And we can go there. Like when you're with those kids and time stands still, you know, 5 hours goes by and you think it was a blink. That's where you're at. When you're with Cash, right? All of us have been there. What is it that we're passionate about? Time does not exist here. And we could go on and on and on. So, Eric Liddell, who was a faithful man, I mean, he was a Christian, and the cool thing about this now, I just respect people who practice and live it. And Eric Liddell was a real guy in the 1927 Olympics. And kind of came out of nowhere. He wasn't expected to do anything. And he blew everybody away. He blew them away. And what I believe, what I wrote down last night is that one person with passion is better than 40 people merely interested. Right? That's Ian Forster. I like this one. When you set yourself on fire, people love to come see you burn. That's John Wesley. It doesn't take much to be a lot different than most people, because everybody's so dang conformed. Right? They're so domesticated. Okay, and this is the last one I'll read for you. I got a lot. Enthusiasm is one of the most powerful engines of success. When you do a thing, now, little side note, remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. Right? Okay, when you do a thing, do it with all your might. Put your whole soul into it. Stamp it with your own personality. Be active, be energetic and faithful, and you will accomplish what you object. Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. Anybody? Emerson? Okay. So I want you to see, again, the elation on Eric Liddell's face, because it just exemplifies a man loving what he does. And it's not pleasant to run the way he runs, right? I can imagine little calluses on that little dude's fingers. But watch this, and watch people's faces. This is what's so cool. When you do you, enthusiasm. People, you'll see the faces. And the thing that's it's sad. Christ said it, that which I do, the least among you can do, and greater things. Right? Okay, so here it is, Eric and Adele. And then I'm going to song for you. Then we're going to take your money. And we're going to go have some fun. Okay. You can read it from the top, like this runner comes up, see they're like betting against him.
Good luck. Don't expect I'll see you till after the race. What's the deal with this guy Little, Coach? He a problem?
No problem. He's a flyer. He's had 2 races today already. He'll die. Just swing along, you guys, and wait. After 300 meters, rigor mortis sets in. You'll pull him in on a rope.
Johnson, Canada. Good luck, Taylor. Watch out for Little. Coach says no problem. He's got something to prove, something personal. Something guys like Coach will never understand in a million years. Jenny! Says in the old book, he that honors me, I will honor. Good luck, Jackson Shows. So where does the power come from to see the race to its end from within? Jenny, I believe God made me for a purpose. But he also made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure.
I believe God made me for a purpose. He also made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. That's the gift of following our passion. That's the truth about us. We all have those gifts. And it's important that we today, now, find those. And each one is unique and different. I could go all day, but I won't. So I want to thank you guys so much. I mean, one of the things, my passion, genuinely, is I love to talk. I love to learn. And beyond that, I love to bring back the rocks and the frogs and the sticks. Check it out. Things are, yes.
Did you find signs of mine before rocks, or were you introduced to it by rocks?
Before 2003. And I was, go ahead.
How did you find those?
Well, I'll be really open with you guys. So I was raised a hardcore little Christian Church of Christ, and it was like 100,000 people going to his LDS was the most amazing guy on the planet. Is he going to burn in hell? That stuff just didn't make sense, you know? And I asked the question, it's like, well, there's a kid born on the same time, the same day, on the other side of the planet, told exactly a different story, and they believe it. Am I going to burn in hell? Yeah, you know what I mean? So that didn't work for me. And part of my process, one of the things that makes me an authority on what I'm sharing here, is that I bought in. I wore the wrong colored Toughskins. I like to play with girls in kindergarten because they were just nicer, and I was always the different guy. You know, I just was. And when I got old, and I was scared out of my mind. My parents divorced, and so there was no safety and consistency at home. And so that aspect was carved out. So when I became an adult and got married with kids and had to keep the mortgage paid, it was too much. And I drank myself into oblivion. I drank myself into a non-functioning adult and ended up in Gooding, Idaho in 2003. And there I was introduced to the 12 Steps, which is simply a spiritual program, right, of identification of ourselves and a connection with higher power. I was blessed. Sarah Donnesley, the most amazing woman on earth. She's an angel. Do anybody know Sarah Donnesley? No. She was that gal that we demanded that she come across the line and say, look, you're our counselor. Like, you've got to be our friend. And she'd watch Boise State football games with us. And she was my Ross before Ross. And she didn't actually cross that line and introduce me to Science of Mind. Peter Bazard did. Anybody know Peter Bazard? Former president of the other church. And then I showed up and there was Sarah. And then George DeShield. George DeShield, at a very low point, started rehab in 03, non-functioning guy. In 2006, I went through the Foundations 1 class. And I was living in an apartment separated from my family on Orchard, very, very depressed. And I was going to the Foundations class. And it was just these little things that hit me. It's like, which reminds me that the little things can make massive ripples and differences in people's lives. George DeShield looked at me and goes, Troy, I love you. You're an amazing guy. I wish you were my son. This is when my wife didn't like me. I mean, it changed everything. And that, I can hear his voice to this day. And I use that every day of my life, just every day. Oh, I love you, you're an amazing guy, because he had my trust and he loved me. Does that make sense? So that's how I found the Science of Mind. And it was congruent. Here's the thing, it's like we have a truth barometer, our intuition, that thermostat inside. And when I came to the Science of Mind, it's like all lights were on, truth, boom, right? This is the truth. When God made paths, why are we kicking over other people's ladders and putting up roadblocks on their path to the same place? Right? It's ridiculous. But that's marketing. Because when we're against one another, they can do whatever they want. There's always a day. And there is a day. If we're constantly against the churches and religions and the politics, and my dad can beat up your dad and Fox News can beat up CNN, we're fighting over stuff that they created for us to fight over. Right? Long way of answering your question. So this is stuff that I'm passionate about, that hence Mindset Cafe, to bring together the best coaches, mentors, and resources underneath one roof. Because people are out there hurting, and I don't want them to go through. I want them to have the experiences that they drew out before they got here. But if they've said, enough, and I want help, I want them to get help. Because I'm telling you, man, I almost got off the ride. A couple of times, almost off the ride. How sad that would be. And I want to see people like me. So, this is the song that, actually, let's see if I can find the lyrics to this one. And then we'll close my part. I've always wanted, I visualized myself. Man, I'd love to talk to you guys about visualization. Lyrics are on the back of your sheet, and also pull up some lyrics here too. As you believe, you guys, believe big. That's just not going to work, it's not loud. I always wanted to be up in front. See, I used to want to be famous in the movies because I had such a fragile ego and such a selfish self-centeredness and low self-esteem that if I was in a movie, I'd be famous and popular and loved. And I realized that's not true. I do see myself in front of a lot of people getting to teach. And if it's in front of one person, I'm good. But I've always wanted this song to be the one that brought me up on stage. So I can share my gifts, my passion, right? Find it. Good Lord, hit 40, my eyes go. Okay. You can read the lyrics on the front page of your.
There's a reason for the sunshine sky, and there's a reason why I'm feeling so high. Must be the season when that love light shines all around us. So let that feeling grab you deep inside and send you reeling where your love can't hide, and then go stealing through the moonlit nights with your lover. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. There's a reason for the warm, sweet nights, and there's a reason for the candle lights. Must be the season when those love lights shine all around us. So let that wonder take you into space and lay you under its loving embrace. Just feel the thunder as it warms your face. You can't hold back. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on a wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow.
Michael. Yeah, thank you very much for letting me share some passion with you.